skeletons I keep under my bed, in between my thoughts and every word I said. How many times do I gather myself? How many friends do I leave behind? What do I have to do to make them say you're a waste of time, a waste of space? A loaded gun with a head case, a loaded gun with a head case. You can't touch me, I'm a head case. Is there a monster in me that brings me down to my knees when I stop the anger beneath? And it makes me believe the only monster is me. I can feel that compromise enough to take my soul, for the way I let myself die inside this cell. It only gets worse when you shut down. You can't swallow all the pain. You never let go, it's always your fault. I need to face reality. Yes! Is there a monster in me that brings me down to my knees when I stop the anger beneath? And it makes me believe the only monster is me. The only monster is me. One exists on failure. Someone reset the trick anger breaking down my bones.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 40 of Talking with Heathens. And
Good
Papa,
evening.
how are you doing?
I'm well. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good too, man. I'm doing good. As you can tell, I did a little bit of more decorating in my
I
little
was
office.
just about to comment on that. Like, I'm going to have to up the game in here.
I like 2 weeks right before October, around middle of September, I'm already starting to get amped up, and I'm already like going out and looking for my Halloween decorations. So to be fair, I get a little prematurely excited about it.
We all get premature sometimes, just depends on what the subject is.
I love Halloween. We're not going down that route, Papa. I know you're wanting me to.
It's too early in the show. We'll get there.
I know you want me to, and we probably we will get there. But yeah, how you been this week? Good.
Been good. Crazy work schedule this week because we ship out every day, but we've had some work done on the driveway. It's a long driveway. It's being redone, repaved, and so the time that we're not able to get out to the main road and get out to the post office and for shipping, I had to get all that in for the week before they started, so that way nothing went out late.
Oh,
But
so
other than that,
you had to do a bunch of like work to get that stuff done because you know you're going to be trapped at the house for a few days. Yeah.
so
what do
now I'm in a bit of a place where I've got all my work done, and I just
It's
kind of get
playtime
to
for Papa then, right? It's like
enjoy a few days. Yeah, I
you
get
get
to
to
enjoy
just
a few days.
relax.
I've had to fight myself on still working and making a few new things, but
But that's just you. You got to keep busy though.
I had a great walk today. It's something that I had been missing this week, and got out in the trees, and it was fantastic.
Say hello to some of the people that's tuning in. I'm going, hey, I'm figuring that's probably you. No?
Yeah.
Hello, is that you too or no?
Yeah, that's me too.
He's like, I didn't know you used emojis.
It's
It's
funny.
Halloween. You're excited too, right? Good evening, Mary Beth. Good evening, Rachel. How are you doing this evening? Hello, Ruben. Good evening to you as well. So yeah, tonight we're since we're officially like in fall now, like officially
Mhm.
like at my place, I got a lot of leaves falling. So tonight I raked up a bunch of them and made a big old pile. Let Noah and Thomas jump in. You know, when I was a kid, I used to love playing in the leaves when they fell. So I raked a bunch of them up, made a big pile for them, and they just been jumping in it and throwing leaves up in the air and at each other. That's how my evening's been.
That's good stuff. I did that for the kids last year, but I have to go down the driveway a little bit to get leaves. So I took the truck down. I raked up a bunch of leaves, put them in the back of the truck, and brought it back to the house and dumped it out to make a big leaf pile. All the trees around the house are pine, so they don't make for
That's
great
right.
piles to jump in.
I mean, you would have to rake up a lot, and then it'd be all like itchy and shit.
Like jumping on a hay bale.
I agree with you, Mary Beth. The warmer weather is bullshit. I agree 100%. I was like, how often do you get the fall when the leaves are falling and you got 87 degrees outside, almost 90 going on? I got Thomas in his shorts, just with no shirt on, no socks on, just jumping in the leaves.
I don't know. I don't know. Saturday night here is going to be 39. Sunday night is going to be
Yeah, the
37
weekend
degrees.
is going to be nice here. It's going to start officially feeling like fall here coming up this Saturday. I think the high tomorrow Saturday is going to be like 55.
Sunday at Sugarloaf in West Virginia, they're expecting it to get their first snowfall of the year.
They must be higher elevation, right?
They are. It's a bit of a ski resort place.
So tonight's show, we're going to be talking about Halloween and some of the history of Halloween. But before we go into the history of Mary Beth says, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for snow. Already starting to show off bad with these four-letter words. You're going to get us banned on Facebook for saying that word snow.
I'm for it.
I'm
I'll
not.
take a ban for snow.
I don't want. I mean, I'm prepared for it, but I don't really necessarily want it. I'm just not a big fan, big, huge fan of snow. First snowfall, yeah. First, maybe the second snowfall of the year, I'm excited about. Then 3, 4 months into it, you're just annoyed with it. I'm ready for back for the spring and fall or summer weather.
It's the great thing about the seasons. It gets us through.
what's getting you through the winter?
What gets me through the winter?
What's so special about snow that you guys like crave it so much?
I enjoy it because it dampens the sound outside. It literally absorbs all like sound. So it's the quietest that it's ever going to be when you're out in the snow. Also, all the things that you get to do inside since it's so cold outside. We fire up the wood stove, enjoy the smell of it and the heat. It just warms you like none other. It
I'm
warms you
feeling
in the bones.
gross inside just talking about it.
Cook on it. I love making breakfast on the wood stove, bacon and eggs, frying in the skillets,
You
cast
can do that
iron.
during the summer when it's not cold. There's no snow outside.
I'll do that outside with a campfire.
Ruben says, "Man, living in San Antonio was like the '90s today. We don't see any real cold weather until February, and here we got snowflake emojis. It's peaceful," Mary Beth says, and very cold. It gets darker earlier and stays darker longer. Yeah, I do like that part of it. I just don't like the snow.
And I really enjoyed your opening montage that had a bit from the Underworld
Yeah, I love
series.
I
When
love
Mary
that
Beth
movie.
mentioned Darker, uh, the first couple of those movies I've watched probably 100 times a piece, and it's because they're so easy to fall asleep to after you've seen the story and know what's going on. Because I think in the first one, there's not a single scene in the entire movie where there's any sort of daylight at all. So if you watch it to fall asleep, it's just dark all the time.
I
There's no
thought
like
you might have
bright.
been just like twisted like me. I fall asleep easily to watching like ghost hunters, like people going out there and doing investigations, or I'll fall asleep to watching some docu series about fucking possessions and exorcisms. I'm sound asleep. I can sleep all fucking night long if I watch one of those.
I can definitely sleep easy to some vampire movies.
So tonight's show we're talking about Halloween, and before we get started about Halloween, let's talk about some of our. Do you what was the Halloween scene like when you was younger?
Um, Growing up, we moved around quite a bit, but for most of the time, it was always in sort of a neighborhood or town. So trick or treating was a thing, to get dressed and go out and go door to door.
Do you guys, as a family, have any sort of Halloween traditions? Did the family get excited, or no? It wasn't like a big thing.
Not really. It wasn't a big thing for me growing up, other than to just dress up on Halloween and do the trick or treating. The school always did some sort of a like a fall fest thing, but back then it was more a Halloween thing. You can't really do that with schools now, so they have to call it a fall festival. But
Did you guys do any like decorations at the house? Did you guys do anything like to
not
impress the
really.
other neighbors? Like, look at my Halloween fucking setup in my front yard.
Not really. That was all saved for more the Christmas time. And growing up, we just really didn't have a whole lot of money to spend on things like that, like decorations, and to be showy about it, even if we really enjoyed the holiday.
Mary Beth has a question here. Do you have a problem? Is adults dressed up and trick or treated? I mean, if they dress up and go trick or treated, no. I mean, I'm not going up knocking on nobody's fucking door asking for candy. I'll just buy the damn bag of candy that I want. You
I
know,
can get that some people want to go through like the nostalgia, live out that childhood. There may be a lot of kids who grew up like fucking Jehovah's Witness that never got to do trick or treat, and now they're in their adult life. Like
growing
they've
up as a
thrown that off.
Mormon, growing up as
You
a
know what?
Mormon, and can't
I'm going
celebrate.
trick or treating this year. I'm dressing up. I'm 31 years old, but I don't care. I'm going and doing it. And you do what you want to do, as long as you're not taking away from the kids. Like if you're pulling that like Will Ferrell, knocking a kid out of the way to get to the candy.
I grew up in the when I did the research today. A lot of this information that I researched, I didn't do the research actually today, but when I was doing the research for tonight's show, I didn't realize how really, honestly, the tradition of what we call Halloween right now today hasn't really been around for that long.
No, it's been super commercialized, just like every other holiday.
I mean, it's only been around since I think the idea of Halloween in America didn't really start to come here until about the 1930s or so. So
But
it's
you may
not
be
really
able to
that
answer
old.
this. You may be able to answer this, and I may be getting ahead of myself or ahead of the show here, but you might be able to clear this up. Trick or treat originated from kids threatening to be assholes, right?
Let me. I'm glad you asked this question because I've been trying to do a lot of work. Excuse me. I've been working on my editing and my videos and informational videos for these shows, and I came up with this segment called "Did You Know?" And I did one for trick or treating and
Okay.
where it all began. So let me do this video real quick, and maybe that'll answer your question.
All right.
You know. History of trick or treating. Borrowing from European traditions, Americans began to dress up in costumes and go house to house asking for food or money, a practice that eventually became today's trick or treat tradition. Young women believed that on Halloween they could divine the name or appearance of their future husband by doing tricks with yarn and apple paring or mirrors. In the late 1800s, there was a move in America to mold Halloween into a holiday more about community and neighborly get together than about ghosts, pranks, and witchcraft. At the turn of the century, Halloween parties for both children and adults became the most common way to celebrate the day. Parties are focused on games, foods of the season, and festive costumes. Parents were encouraged by newspapers and community leaders to take anything frightening or grotesque out of Halloween celebrations. Because of these efforts, Halloween lost most of its superstitious and religious overtones by the beginning of the 20th century. Did that answer your question?
Um, kind of in a way, and it may have been more a regional thing, but what I had heard for the longest time about trick or treat itself is that the children would go door to door for some sort of money, usually like a little pie or something, or bread or money. And if they didn't get it, they would throw rocks through the windows of the house that didn't uh, fork something out, that didn't give them something good. So it was trick or treat. Like,
No, that could be another tradition somewhere else that they may have done that. I don't know. I know here where I lived at, it was like it was like toilet paper in your yard doing the tricks, or the bag of burning shit on your front porch, or if you was really mean and you was a real dick, you would be the one of the assholes around going bag snatching, or be like Mary Beth and hand out bags of ramen noodles, or Angry Grandma. That's what Angry Grandma would do, is hand out bag of ramen noodles. It works though, right? But yeah, that was where trick or treating, how the idea of trick or treating. But they did this because sort of, in a way, you're right. In a way, the mischief, the throwing of the rocks, the vandalism. You're partially right. That's why they kind of made it the way they did today, because of so much crime, so much vandalism, so much going on. There was a lot of bad stuff, and then they didn't like that Halloween had the association with witchcraft, was there was a which back then there was a great big huge stigma around witchcraft and paganism back then. So the government itself decided to combat that by creating this version of Halloween where it's family affair. You know, people are getting together, they're dressing up, and they tried to avoid the scary outfits and be more family friendly. The combat back in Detroit, they had the night before, they called it the Devil's Night, because they go around and burning trash barrels and burning stuff up and vandalizing. So they tried this version of it, the fight against that kind of stuff. So I guess in a way you're right. Interesting, huh?
it is. And with the treat portion, uh, and the way that society has shifted in the last 10 years, it makes me curious because I've not gone out. The kids they've been too little to take trick or treating, but like, I guess I would call it the Karens of Halloween. Is that a thing? I wonder. You might be able to answer. The people watching might be able to. Like, have you encountered that? People getting upset that somebody's handing out a Snickers and it has peanuts, but their kid has a peanut allergy, or that a certain costume is too frightening for their
I
kid to
would get
see.
mad because I have my favorite candies. Like when
Like,
I
have
went trick or
Karens
treating,
affected Halloween and trick or treat?
I personally, I don't even know what trick or treat is like here anymore in the modern times, as in today. I haven't seen kids go out trick or treating in years, and I live in an area where there's not a whole bunch of houses, so you would have to. I think nowadays it's more going to like a fire station or a police station, or go to a school and do those truck or treats.
Mhm.
But I grew up in the '70s and '80s, so I mean it was still fairly new, and there was a lot of tricks and a lot of less treats. And I used to get mad because I had my favorite. My one of my favorites was the Reese cups.
Oh, that's my absolute favorite.
And if I got only 3 or 4 Reese cups in my bag, I'm shitty. If I'm going out trick or treating, I've only come back with one bag. I feel like I didn't have a very good night, and I need to go back out, at least snatch up another half bag.
when my older kids were little and I was taking them trick or treating, uh, I was pulling that. Hey guys, we're home now. I've got to check your candy. You know, this
Yeah.
is a thing, and I would snag the Reese cups out, and then be like, "All right, you're good to go."
That's another one of my favorite, Mary Beth. Twizzlers was another one that I wanted. I like the Smarties. You had to unravel them at the ends, and you can throw them all in your mouth at once. It was kind of like a little sour. I like those too. Those are my favorites.
I remember those bottle cap candies too that would come in a sleeve,
Do you
sort of like
have
Smarties.
do you have a fond Halloween memory? Like you just had so much fun on that Halloween that it just stuck with you throughout your life?
Not one that I can recall, but I'll give it some time, and maybe by the end of the show, or maybe by next show, I'll have a fond Halloween
I have a fun.
story.
Well, that's not this. It's well, okay. Yeah, it's fun for me. Maybe not so much for the people that was other people that didn't know that it was being involved, but for me, it was fun. Me and my buddy and Robbie. If you turn around and watch this show later, we've been friends since preschool. We dressed up one year. We dressed up in ninja outfits. We literally bought like the complete black outfit, the mask, everything, and we went out on Halloween and just toilet. There's a park, and then there's a bunch of houses around it, and that's that. We consider that our little neighborhood. We went around this park. It's a mile around, complete circle, and we ran around this park in our ninja outfits, and we bought a shit ton of toilet paper too. We had to make like 3-4 trips back to our house to load up on more toilet paper to go back out. But we toilet papered the entire block, the whole mile around the park at the houses. I had so much fun that night because when I woke up the next day and we looked at the work that we created. It looked like it was Christmas with toilet paper around this whole park. I mean, it was everywhere. For me, that was a fond memory. I just had so much fun. Sid, no, I wasn't. Know that there's a difference, Mary Beth. I was a ninja, so I don't think there's no karate involved with the ninja. The stealthy actions. There might have been a couple throwing stars and a katana and a backpack full of fucking and a trash bag full of toilet paper rolls. Angel soft tools of the trade.
Something else that I've kind of always wondered, for those who participate and they dress up, even if you're not one of the adults that go out and do it, but if you're handing out candy from home and dress up, do you have a particular thing that's just your thing? That's every year you're every year you're a vampire, every year you're this zombie, or do you do different things each time and explore different uh,
For the longest
spooks
time
and
for me,
haunts? And
I mean, for years, I used to dress up as Brandon Lee from The Crow. I had the trench coat. I had the
that was
face
your
paint.
thing.
That was my thing. Since the movie came out in theaters till I got probably in my middle 30s, that's when I stopped doing the Brandon Lee. I would experiment with variations of that makeup, but the idea was always based around The Crow. That was mine. Damn it! How could you go wrong though with Brandon Lee and The Crow?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a cult classic.
When I was growing up, my costume varied slightly from year to year. Like I said, we didn't have a whole lot of money, so each year um, my costume was just kind of like dead or zombie, whatever was around. And I played sports, so like one year I was a dead football player. The next year I was a dead baseball player.
I was a stripper one year. I walked around in a. I don't know why I'm telling this, but I got dared to walk around in a G-string and a bikini top in the neighborhood. So I did that one year. Then I dressed up as a bag lady one year. But my fondest year was dressed up as a ninja, the TP. That's what Misty would call it, the TP ninja. So we got some music tonight, but we are talking before we get to the music. But tonight's show, as you can tell, we're talking about Halloween. We're getting into some of our fond memories, what it was like for us during Halloween. Some of the fond memories of what we did on Halloween. Papa ain't got many, but I got a lot.
I'll jog my memory. I'll get there.
We'll get through a song. You'll
Try
probably
to
think of
dig
something.
something up. Maybe they're traumatic. Maybe I've like
Closed them
subconsciously
away.
blocked them out, and
Maybe you was one
you
of the ones that
brought this
got
on
bags.
me. So like the next week, I'm just going to be in absolute turmoil with these
Maybe you're gonna
terrible
be the.
memories of Halloween's past.
Maybe you
All
was
for
one of
you,
those
all for the
one of
show.
those little boys that got bags snatched and you ran home to mommy crying about it.
I got TP'd or something.
Or you're the one that stepped in the fiery fucking flaming pile of paper shit.
We'll see what comes up.
Yeah, I've always just Misty says, yeah, I always just used what I had and came up with something. I still do that too. I've never really dressed up anything like extravagant. I never like spent hundreds of dollars on a costume. It was either me putting face makeup on or nothing at all.
No, and not social media, but pop culture plays a big part in it too. Like when we were a little bit younger, when Scream came out, that Halloween, everybody was the Scream mask. Everybody was the Scream mask.
I'm going this year as a penis.
You don't have much dressing up you need to do.
Papa, put your thumb up like this. When I move mine to the right, you move yours to the right at the same time. And when I move it to the left, you do it as well, all right? You ready? 3, 2, 1. Moving it to the right, to the left, to the right. You know what that is? A remote control dildo. That's what you get for calling
I
me.
was going to say that you walked into yours, but I walked into mine too. It was a double setup.
So we got some music for you guys tonight. We got some music for you guys tonight. Tonight we got an artist named Charles Wesley Godwin. We got some Jelly Roll, and tonight's song you heard on the intro, that band Dark Signal. We're going to play that video by them, The Only Monster. So right now we're getting ready to play you Charles Wesley Godwin and his song All Again. We'll be right back, guys. Sit where you got. Get something to drink. Go pack your bowl up. Get yourself some mead. And enjoy some music in the background. We'll be right back, guys. No. 1/4 of all candy sold annually in the U.S. is purchased for Halloween.
The Alvaetier Workshop is dedicated to the old ways, offering a wide selection of animist ritual supplies, divination tools, altar goods, and home decor, including premium reindeer hides imported from traditional herders in northern Finland. Whether you're just starting your spiritual journey or looking to expand your collection with a custom drum, we have everything you need. Visit our online store at thealvaetier.com and discover the beauty of mountain spirit.
Hey, this is Rod from Just a Ride, and you're watching Inner Demon Media.
Release your inner demons.
Okay, so typically at this stage, we're looking at about 6 to 8 months. Any longer than that, then we definitely consider ourselves lucky. But look, there are some treatment options, but they won't be easy.
No. I think I'm gonna be all right.
I watch you walking across the floor, and I bet missing you and more. Beating of my heart shakes the framing at my chest. I'm falling more and more, and hell, I don't mind being poor.
What'd you learn?
When I'm with you, I pity all the kings of the world.
Good to see you. How was your day?
Good.
Times are getting hard, good is getting rare. You and me and the babies have them all the time, I swear. We don't mind the shit folks talk, we're just keeping our eyes lost. They can watch us chase those dreams they never even dared. We've got time, dear. You're the girl I knew back when. Don't you love, dear? I'm the boy who's always been in love with you to the end. And I'd do it all again.
It was a fun day, right?
Yeah.
You got to fix the truck. And the best mom in the world picked you up from school today, which was very nice. Yeah. Well, guys, not all days are going to be that good, but if you are grateful and you're thankful for all the things around you, you're going to have some pretty good ones. All right? Amen.
Amen.
We've got time, dear. You're the girl I knew back when. Don't you love, dear? I'm the boy who's always been. We've got time, dear. You're the girl I knew back when. Don't you love, dear? I'm the boy who's always been in love with you to the end. And I'd do it all again. All again. All again. All again. All again.
Welcome back, everybody, to Talking with Heathens. Was that song too heavy for you, Papa?
Yeah, I mean, it was deep. The story and everything, the visual that came along with it.
Well, I thought me being a weird son of a bitch, I thought it went really well with tonight's show about Halloween because he's passing. He's having to let go of this world and crossing over into the other world. He knows it. He knows that he has to, and he chooses to live his life for the moment and enjoy his life. And he chose not. What I thought was fascinating. That's why I love videos so much, because you could kind of take what you want from it, right? And I just thought it was really amazing during that video where he at the beginning of the video where he just turned it down and goes, no, I don't want your treatment. I don't want the options. I just want to go home and spend the rest of my life with my family, with my wife, with my kids. I thought that's why I like this song and video so much, I guess.
Yeah, but then he kept it a secret.
Well, I don't know. We don't know that.
Well, she came home and the greeting, hey, how was your day? And then
he didn't tell her right off prior.
There was nothing else said about it. And I know a lot of people think that way. Like, no, I don't want to hurt the people around me with this news, this information. They're going to worry. I don't want people upset. But we're so selfish with ourselves. Um, so I would have to tell my family, um, so that they would know, like, hey, if there's anything that you want us to do together or that you want me to be a part of while I have the time, to give them that opportunity. Um,
God, that is a heavy. That is heavy, isn't it? That's a
it's
heavy
one of
choice
those
to
toss up
decide.
things. Some people are not going to want to. They're going to want to keep it to themselves, and
They
some
don't want to
people.
burden the family, and they want, and maybe in their head, perhaps they don't want any of the sorrow of losing them. Because if you go through the treatment and shit like that, there's months, years that could be going on treatment where you're having to deal with that person slowly dying. Are they? But then again, though, are they really protecting them? Are they protecting themselves? Anyway, that just got deep for Halloween show. Holy shit!
But that was you said it was Godwin.
Yep. Let
When
me
you
look.
first said that before, we got the music going. It made me think of some more Halloween type things. Any fans here of Hemlock Grove?
Oh, that's a good series.
The Godwins. That's a big name on that show, and they've got vampires, werewolves, a pterodactyl guy, even.
Well, I got a question for you, Papa. How far back do you think the Halloween was actually been around? At least the idea, the incarnation, the beginning of it all. Maybe not what we see today, because we know that ain't been around since, but the 1930s. But the beginning of celebration, what us witches or pagans or whoever would call it Samhain, right?
Hmm.
How far do you think that dates back?
Well, if I'm not in the ballpark here, I think I'm going to be in trouble with a lot of people for not knowing something like this. So I'm going to go right around in the change of time and the way that we record it now, right around 1500, 2000 years ago with the Celts.
That's it. That's it, sir. At least as far as some sort of tradition of or some sort of practice of the Halloween idea of Halloween dates back at least 2,000 years, at least that's been recorded, and
They
it's
were
start.
following nature. They seen that it was that time of year for things to die, for things to rest, for things to go to sleep. You go to the ground, they would see the foxes and animals go into their den and go into their sleep, and in a way be buried and wait to come out new and fresh in the spring. And so they were honoring that in those early celebrations. Death, that death is a thing.
Yeah, the Celts believe that the night before the new year, which would be the 31st, the boundary between the worlds of the living and dead would become blurred. And the night 31st, they celebrated Samhain. Then they was believed that the ghost of the dead returned to the earth. But they were very the Celts and the Druids were very aware that this is like their biggest time of the year for them. But the idea of it dates back 2,000 years. 2,000 years.
I think probably even older. It's just what we have recorded. It's what we
Yeah.
have stories of that have existed. But I think a lot of people in the Norse pagan realm like to call it the thinning of the veil, when that time and that space between us and the spirit world is at its thinnest, and that really falls in line with Halloween and other cultures and traditions around the world for this time of year.
There was they had the Druids built large, huge bonfires, and that's where the bonfire idea comes. And they all go, they light it, they dance around it, they go off, do their thing, and then they come back and put the fire out as well. So that's the whole idea behind the bonfires on Samhain as well.
Do you guys know the history behind the bonfire? If
Hit
not,
us with it, Papa.
I'll give you a quick one.
Yeah, hit
Uh,
us with it.
a lot of people will throw it up like a toss up between Bonnie, meaning good, a Bonnie fire, or literal bone fire. And it was a bone fire. They had their harvest. They would call the sick, the old animals. They would get that meat, get it ready, preserved for the winter ahead, and then they would burn the bones. So it was a big bone fire. and
That's
it was
it.
shortened to bonfire.
That was what they were saying. They sacrifices. They'd make the sacrifices for the year. So whether they wanted, they wanted to make sure they had a lot of meat, they'd sacrifice lamb bones, put it into the fire. The cattle, they take the bones of the cattle, throw it in the fire to bless the next year coming ahead for what they needed to have to make it through the next winter.
So technically, if you're not burning some bones, it's not a bonfire.
That's right. So get some bones. But yeah, that's the
There are so many traditions and things that come through in this time of year, but we don't really think about them anymore because it's been so commercialized to just trick or treat, buy that candy, hand it out, or costumes.
well,
But there are
it's
so
gone
many.
through so many. The Halloween itself has gone through so many. Is evolved in so many different ways. It's kept the core ideas, but it's evolved to, according to different. I mean, back in 13 AD, 609, Pope Boniface IV dedicated this day, turned it into the Christian version of Halloween. So it's gone through lots and lots of different evolution as far as the idea. It started off with the pagans, of course, and then it's been ideas of it. It's been stolen and brought into different ways of different practices, different
And it
ideas.
falls on, what is it, just the day before the Latino community's Day of the Dead.
But yeah, good evening, Monica. How are you doing? I wrote notes down if you can't tell tonight. Normally, I just go with my gut and just go with the show. But I'm really trying to to keep a structure tonight. I'm really trying hard. Yeah, this motherfucker stone faced, didn't he? I think I want the beard back.
I was going to do the freeze thing again and not move for a minute. See what came up from there. I've got some notes too.
Perfect. Because I'm bombing right now. We're both bombing right now.
Halloween was not popular at all in the United States until the 19th century.
That's that's
It
right.
wasn't even a thing.
I'm glad you brought it up because I did another video called "Did You Know?" that talks about when trick or treating or Halloween came to America. But me being not used to doing these things, I was a little soft spoken during the first part of it. So you go ahead, Papa. You do yours first, and then we'll play my video before I do another music video.
It might just be the same thing, but uh, New England itself, especially, was founded on all the religious beliefs that were coming over during the founding of the colonies. So it was all very Quaker, very religious, Christian religious. So Halloween wasn't a thing here. But when the mass immigration happened with Europe, especially the Irish and the Scottish,
There was a potato famine.
They
in
brought those
Ireland.
traditions with them here, and it caught on, and all the neighborhoods that they moved into became very popular, and so then started to be celebrated here in the United States, in New England states, and then west from there.
That's right, sir. That's right, because the reason why they migrated here to the United States, the biggest reason was there was actually Ireland had a food shortage, and the food shortage was actually a shortage of potatoes, and so they started migrating here to the United States. And when they did, you're right, they started introducing some of their Irish traditions here, which was Halloween was one of those traditions. I'm glad you said it because I'm pretty quiet at the beginning of this video. I liven up about 3/4 of the way through it. But yeah, let's play some more music. You want to, buddy? And come back and talk about Halloween some more.
We'll check our notes real quick.
Check our notes. This is everybody. This is Jelly Roll with his song "Son of a Sinner." We're right back, everybody.
Hey, this is Josie Scott, the original OG lead singer of Saliva, and you are watching Inner Demon Media. Release your inner demons. We all have demons. We just don't try to hide them.
I never get lonely. I got these goals to keep me company. I took the rear view off of this old Ford, so I only see in front of me. Now the past is out of sight and out of mind. Swore I'd change, now I'm back chasing these white lines. I'm just a long-haired son of a sinner, searching for new ways I can get gone. I'm a pedal to the highway. If you ever wonder why we write these songs, 'cause I'm only one drink away from the devil. I'm only one call away from home. Yeah, I'm somewhere in the middle. I guess I'm just a little right and wrong. These back roads guide me. These pills pretend to be my friend. I'm done for the last time. I'm lying to myself again. I always say that. Now I'm on my way back here somehow. I should know by now. I'm just a long-haired son of a sinner, searching for new ways I can get gone. I'm a pedal to the highway. If you ever wonder why we write these songs, 'cause I'm only one drink away from the devil. I'm only one call away from home. Yeah, I'm somewhere in the middle. I guess I'm just a little right and wrong. Mistakes I made, I paid for them in cash. Walked a million miles on broken glass. I'm feeling like I'm fading. My heart's been slowly breaking. Might pop a pill and smoke and maybe drink. Talk to God and tell him what I think. At first he's gonna hate me, but eventually he'll say, I'm just a long-haired son of a sinner, searching for new ways I can get gone. I'm a pedal to the highway. If you ever wonder why we write these songs, 'cause I'm only one drink away from the devil. I'm only one call away from home. Yeah, I'm somewhere in the middle. I guess I'm just a little right and wrong.
Pumpkins with ghoulish faces illuminated by candles are a sure sign of the Halloween season. The practice of decorating jack-o'-lanterns originated in Ireland, where large turnips and potatoes served as an early canvases. In fact, the name jack-o'-lantern comes from an Irish folk tale about a man named Stingy Jack. Irish immigrants brought their tradition to America home of the pumpkin, and became an integral part of Halloween festivities. The legend of Stingy Jack, people have been making jack-o'-lanterns at Halloween for centuries. The practice originated from an Irish myth about a man named Stingy Jack. According to the story, Stingy Jack invited the devil to have a drink with him. True to his name, Stingy Jack didn't want to pay for his drink, so he convinced the devil to turn himself into a coin that Jack could use to buy their drinks. Once the devil did so, Jack decided to keep the money and put it into his pocket next to a silver cross, which prevented the devil from changing back into his original form. Jack eventually freed the devil under the condition that he would not bother Jack for 1 year and that should Jack die, he would not claim his soul. The next year, Jack again tricked the devil into climbing into a tree to pick a piece of fruit. While he was up there in the tree, Jack carved a sign of the cross into the tree's bark so the devil could not come down until the devil promised Jack not to bother him for 10 more years. Soon after, Jack died. As the legend goes, God would not allow such an unsavory figure in heaven. The devil, upset by the trick Jack had played on him and keeping his word not to claim his soul, would not allow Jack into hell. He sent Jack off into the dark night with only a burning coal to light his way. Jack put the coal into a carved-out turnip and has been roaming the earth with it ever since. The Irish began to refer to this ghostly figure as Jack of the Lantern, and then simply Jack-o'-lantern. The origins of the Jack-o'-lanterns, carving out the pumpkins and putting the lights in, it all started in Ireland and Scotland. People began to make their own version of Jack's lanterns by carving scary faces into turnips or potatoes and placing them into windows or near doors to frighten away Stingy Jack and other wandering evil spirits. In England, large beets are used. Immigrants from these countries brought their jack-o'-lantern tradition with them when they came to the United States. They soon found that pumpkins, a fruit native to America, made a perfect place for jack-o'-lanterns. And yes, we managed to get booted for a song. But we're back, though. I figured that was what would happen.
And anybody that enjoyed that about Stingy Jack, y'all leave them pumpkins alone. Pumpkin bread, pumpkin pie. There's so much more you can do. But carve one if you want to.
I don't carve them. I hate doing it.
The pumpkin seeds, that's my favorite part. We'll carve them with the kids and then take the seeds and bake them and salt them. And it's a great snack.
I take that back. I guess I do it. I just don't. I like baking the pumpkin seeds, but I hate going through the process to pain them. But
some of those people get crazy
creative with them,
intricate, and like just make crazy art with these pumpkins.
Pumpkin bars. Richard says pumpkin pie and bread. Mm-mm. I'm not much of a pumpkin guy, man. I'm not much of a pumpkin pie guy. I mean, I like it, but I'm not like a fucking huge fan. It's once a year, Thanksgiving. I'll eat a pumpkin pie. I'm not a big fan of that pumpkin spice either.
I love pumpkin bread.
Morwan says pumpkin tastes like nothing to me.
That's it. It's kind of like a blank canvas or a substance that you can add your flavors to. Like most other things in that gourd category, like eggplant doesn't have much of a flavor, squash doesn't have much of a flavor, but
and now she's yelling at us. Apple cider is.
I agree 100%.
I will die on that hill.
We grow apples just for apple cider in the fall.
It has to be homemade pumpkin pie. I'm sure I've had. It's always been store bought for me. I can cook, but I'm not about to bake my own or from scratch pumpkin pie. I'm not about to do. I'll throw a motherfucker in the oven at 350, come back in about an hour. But I'll do like my homemade bread and stuff like that, and I'll do desserts. But that seems like a lot of work to do homemade from scratch pumpkin pie. Have you done it before?
Have I made a pumpkin pie?
Yeah, homemade by from scratch.
Hmm.
Is it a lot of work?
I didn't. Cindy did.
Was it a lot of work for Cindy?
Yeah, it's a little bit, but so are most homemade pies.
Yeah.
But she likes to get artistic with hers too, and like when we do apple pies, because what we don't use for cider, we'll have left over, and she like do those patterns over the top of it with the breading and the pastry, and make them real fancy.
Yeah, I'm sure that I've had homemade pumpkin pie in my life. I just don't remember it. But my grandma, my dad's mom, was really like a kitchen witch is what I'd call her, because she spent a lot of time in the kitchen creating stuff, creating these great delicious foods. And she was from the mountains of West Virginia as well, down there in Welch, Panther, West Virginia area. That's where my family is originated from, is from that area, and they've migrated themselves to Ohio and Indiana. And hell, I've got a park all the way out in Idaho that I didn't know I had family out there, but apparently we have a Ryder State Park or something down there or something. I guess once I found that, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. But yeah, she was cooked. I'm sure I've had homemade pumpkin pie. I just don't remember. It's not something I eat. I'm not a big pie guy. There's only one pie that I really like, and it's not apple. It's not pumpkin. It's one special pie that stands out all above the rest. But we won't get into that tonight. This is about Halloween. This is not about Sid's favorite pie eating contest.
I was about to say we could cue another music moment, and you could just play the song.
Coffee all year. Meyer Best says coffee all year. I can't do coffee all day. I usually drink about 3 cups of coffee in the morning and I'm done. It's the Keurig stuff too, so it's like the flavored, like brown sugar flavored coffee. It's really fucking delicious. Don't be gross, Sid, but why? That's not cherry. Like, it's not cherry pie. I can tell you that. It ain't cherry
Well,
pie.
that's where I was going with the cue, the song.
Well, I mean, I guess you could call it cherry pie, but I was just thinking of. I'm thinking porno names, I guess. Never mind. My mind just for 15 seconds there went straight into the gutter, and I had to tell myself mentally to stop, Sid, and I will. I will stop. So Halloween. What else about Halloween? Well, this is supposed to be about Halloween history, Papa. What else about Halloween? Let me see my notes here, Papa. Black cats. What's the superstition about black cats during Halloween, Papa? Do you know?
I do not, other than it's a general superstition that black cats crossing your path tend to bring bad luck.
All right, so let's talk about the all my notes here. The origins of the black cats. Halloween has always been a holiday filled with mystery and magic and superstition. It began as a Celtic end of summer festival during which people felt especially close to deceased relatives and friends. For these friendly spirits, they set
Now the
places
cat makes sense.
they set places at the dinner table, left treats on doorsteps and alongside the road, and it lit candles to help loved ones find their way back to the spirit world. Today's Halloween ghosts are often depicted. We're talking about ghosts are depicted as far more fearsome and evil, and our customs and superstitions are scarier too. We avoid crossing paths with black cats, afraid they might bring us bad luck, Papa. This idea has its roots in the Middle Ages, when many people believed that witches avoided detection by turning themselves into black cats. Ta-da! So witches used to turn the superstition was that witches would turn themselves into black cats to hide to avoid detection so they wouldn't get hung or killed.
You got to do what you got to do.
So where does the familiar fit in? I wonder then, where it's like their spiritual, like their spirit companion. When I see a lot of witches talk about the familiar, the cats they're familiar, well, history just said right there that they used to turn into them. So are you like endorsing witch slavery now, guys? What's going on?
I think maybe just a
Stories
mix up
change.
with the association. And because I know in the early days, most familiars were things like a mouse or the toad, as we know from some of the Salem stories. But the black cat with the witch, she might have just been going for a walk with her friend.
And she decided to turn herself into a cat to avoid being noticed that she was a witch. Makes total sense. Well, it's funny how
Um, it was a little bit back up in the comments, but one from Morwin that I strongly agree with. In so many of our holidays and celebrations, it had to do uh, with capitalism and some other choice words at the front and back of that. But candy, even though trick or treat as a tradition has been around for a very, very long time, it wasn't until the 1970s that candy became their traditional handout. Before then, it would be things like bread or cakes or even money or just whatever you had sitting around that you were willing to part with to give these kids on your porch.
do you know what the original treat that they used to hand out was on trick or treat during the trick or treating time? The original like golden wrapper Willy Wonka treat to get on Halloween. Soul cakes.
Soul cakes.
Soul cakes. That's where that came from. They used to give out soul cakes, and so the American Halloween tradition for trick or treating probably dates back to the early All Soul Days parades in England. During the festivities, poor citizens would beg for food, and families would give them pastries called soul cakes in return for the promise to pray for the family's dead relatives. The distribution of soul cakes was encouraged by the church as a way to replace the ancient practice of leaving food and wine for roaming spirits. The practice, which was referred to as going a souling, was eventually taken up by children who would visit the houses in their neighborhood and be given ale, food, and money.
So they were bribing the kids to pray.
Yep.
Or blackmailing the kids to pray, or blackmailing the people in the community
church
to
was
hand out
encouraging them.
things to get these kids to pray.
If they want to eat, you're going to fucking pray.
It's still that way today. You go to homeless shelters, women's shelters, they'll help you out, but they're going to beat you with a Bible verse before they do.
Isn't it just something else? How people just are in general. People are starving out there, and so they're excited about trick or treat Halloween because they know they can go to somebody's house. They think, and they're gonna get a pastry, and you're not gonna get that pastry until you pray. And
If I was one of those kids back then, I would have went around and done it. I would have got that cake and then be like,
I would have been praying.
I ain't praying for shit. I ain't praying for nobody.
I don't give a fuck.
Cake, that's it.
I'm gonna get on my knees and I'm gonna pray and I'm gonna come out of that motherfucker with about fucking 3 dozens of fucking soul cakes. I don't give a fuck if I gotta get down and pray. You know, thank you God for all these pastries that I'm about to devour without prejudice.
I remember I said old ladies gave out pennies. That reminds me, I was a kid, like maybe 10, 11 years old, and it was a winter time and thought that I was going to be a nice guy. And we lived next to a very, very old couple. So I shoveled their driveway, the snow. It took me like 2 hours to do it. and then went inside to get paid, and I think it ended up being like either 37 or 42 cents.
Wow.
I was so mad that day. But I get it now. Like, I get it now, but in that time, I was very upset.
Well, I hope you guys learned a little bit of something tonight about Halloween. I swear this show went better in my head than what it did tonight. There was a few fumbles for me tonight, guys. So I
We've
do
still
apologize.
got the rest of the month. If you didn't learn anything new tonight, tune in next Wednesday because we're doing Halloween all October.
All of October, we're going to have some sort of Halloween theme, like I like intros, for instance. I last week was zombies. This week was werewolves. Next week it's going to be vampires. But next week, I'm not sure. I haven't decided if I wanted to cover cryptids or if I wanted to cover like the paranormal in general,
If you're
ghosts.
doing vampires and I don't see Aaliyah as Akasha, I'll walk out of the show.
And yes, I don't know if Papa is going to get dressed up or not, but I don't even sure if you're going to be able to make the show. It's on a Saturday. We have a Saturday show, and I did it just for you, Papa. We're going to do a quiz, and I don't know if you remember the band that you wanted to check the interview one last day.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to be the guest on the show, and then we're going to have a Halloween show. So if you want to
Do it.
dress up, Papa, you can dress up, but you're going to be teaming up with Morwin, and you two are going to be going against the band one last day, and in a Halloween style quiz, and I'll be hosting. I'm going to be dressed up, but I'll be hosting it, not actually participating.
I will be dressed up, and we're gonna win. I've got Morwin. It's over.
So it's
For
going to
the
be on a
band.
Saturday. It's going to be on the 28th. We got that show planned. I know, Papa, when I played that video, you said something about you wanted to meet the band, have an interview with them, and well, I managed to line it up on a Halloween show. They're dressing up. You're dressing up. You guys are going head to head on some Halloween quiz questions. Now I just got before the show comes. I'm going to put a poll up on the Inner Demon media page and on my page, and we're going to let you guys, the fans, the viewers watching the show. I'm going to give you guys the choice of punishments for the loser, and we're going to let you guys pick what the punishment's going to be for the losing opponent, whether it be one last day or whether it be Papa and Morwin. We're going to have a punishment for you guys. I'm not going to make it too bad, too drastic, too embarrassing, but we're going to have some fun with it.
What if you make it that we shave our beards?
Maybe
if there's a punishment, what's the prize? If there's
you ain't got to do the punishment.
There's got to be something for the winner.
I think the loser's going to have to wax their nipple live on the show.
If that's fair. That's going to be rough.
That's why I said that.
Now I've got to worry about Morwin throwing me under the bus and losing on purpose. She won't have to deal with it.
Yes, Mary Beth. Look, what I'll do is I'll get with Mary Beth and maybe somebody else, and we'll come up with a list, and we'll pick like the top 3, and then I'll make a post with the top 3 and let you guys decide which one of the 3 will be the punishment for that night's show. I think it's gonna be fantastic. I think it's gonna be a great show. You're gonna be dressed up. The band's gonna be dressed up.
I'm going to be studying Halloween over the next month, like I'm getting ready to go on Jeopardy.
Well, this is going to be random, like modern day Halloween questions, whether it be about movies or horror icons. It's just going to be random Halloween questions. Nothing too hard. I got to think of a system. Maybe get you guys like buzzers or something. It's going to be fun. anyway, that's what we got planned for that. And then
Or you could do it Family Feud style. Like you award points for each correct answer, and then you do one team and then the other team.
You guys get together with the right answers. What's going to happen, like the Family Feud style? You guys are like the final question. You guys come together and decide what the answers are going to be. I'm going to do the same way because I ain't going to try to keep score with 5 band members and you 2 separately. That's 7 people I got to keep score of.
Yeah, I thought we were just doing like 2 teams. It's the band versus Morwin and I. So they'll come up with their answer together. And
Misty's got a great idea. She goes, I got it. Michael Myers match with gold shorts.
I do that on a lot of weekends anyway, so I wouldn't count that as dressing up.
And a tutu.
That okay.
So what else we October, I think on another Saturday we got a band called Blitz playing on the show as well. But all month long on this show, we're going to have some sort of scary Halloween themed show for the rest of this month, and then to end that off with, we're going to have our Halloween show, and then first week of November, I think we're going to have one show, and then we're going to be off the following week, I believe. I know there's going to be 1 week in November where we're not going to have any shows. Me and Papa are going to be having ourselves a retreat.
Yeah, it'll be that first week.
First week of November.
It'll be the second week in November.
No, it'll be the first week for me because I'm leaving on a Tuesday and not on a Wednesday.
Yeah, but you'll be leaving on the 7th or 8th, and we'll still have a Wednesday coming in before there.
Do we? I haven't looked that deep into the calendar yet. But yep, that's what we got planned going on for this month, guys. On my birthday, damn it. Sorry, Mary Beth. Well, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. Hope you guys learned at least a little bit of something about Halloween. Next week, we'll be back at the same time, as always, on your beautiful Wednesday evening, 8 o'clock, right here on Inner Demon Media. Until then, guys, be safe, be well. And you guys with one last song for the night by the band Dark Signal, The Only Monster. You guys take care. We'll see you guys next Wednesday.
Skeletons I keep under my bed, in between my thoughts and every word I said. How many times do I gather myself? How many friends do I leave behind? What do I have to do to make them say you're a waste of time, a waste of space? A loaded gun with a head case, a loaded gun with a head case. You can't trust me, I'm a head case. Is there a monster in me that breathes out your body? When I stop the
you know more people are buying costumes for their pets? Did you know that? I bet you buy costumes for your pets. American has spent nearly $500 million on costumes for their pets in 2021, more than double what they spent in 2010.